The movie begins with a girl named Madison, who is on a solo sightseeing trip in Thailand. We learn that Madison is a famous influencer on Instagram, with many followers, and she shares daily videos with them about her journey. She portrays herself as someone who loves to try new things, travel, and discover the meaning of life. We also learn that Madison is traveling alone because her boyfriend, Ryan, backed out at the last minute due to work commitments, so she decided to go alone. Despite filming videos where she appears happy with the experience, her emotions are fake. In reality, she constantly feels lonely and is upset that Ryan didn't travel with her and left her alone. One night, she sits at the hotel bar when an older British tourist approaches her, trying to get to know her and flirt. At that moment, another girl named Cassie, who has a mole on her face, steps in and pushes the tourist away because he is bothering Madison. Cassie then invites Madison to go out with her for a walk to get away from the tourist. They head out for a stroll and get to know each other. Cassie is curious about why Madison is traveling alone, so she starts a conversation to learn more about her trip and her relationship with Ryan, who left her to travel solo. Then, Madison rides with Cassie on her motorcycle, and they head to the top of a hill to watch the sunrise. Madison records a video of herself and notices that Cassie doesn't want her face to appear in the video. However, Cassie takes several pictures of Madison with her camera. After that, they spend a fun time together. At the end of the day, Cassie drops Madison off at her hotel room. When Madison enters the room, she discovers that she has been robbed. Naturally, she calls Cassie, the only person she knows in the area. Cassie convinces her not to report the theft to the police because it won't be helpful and offers to host her at the villa she rented so that Madison can figure things out. Madison agrees and goes with her. Later, Madison makes a video call to Ryan and tells him that she was robbed and will need to stay an extra 2 weeks in Thailand. However, Ryan gets upset and doesn't understand the situation, beginning to blame her, which shows how little attention he's giving to their relationship. Madison decides to break up with him and ends the call. Afterward, she goes out with Cassie to visit tourist spots, and Cassie continues taking many photos of her with her phone. Then, she takes her on her motorcycle to another villa she rented deep in the forest and tells her that she has a surprise plan for the next day and that they will visit a place that's very dear to her. The next morning, they take a speedboat to a deserted island. They sit together by the fire, and Madison teases Cassie by asking if she brought her to the deserted island to get rid of her. Cassie replies that she won't get rid of her herself, but will leave her alone on the island, just like the other girls she abandoned before. She plans to make Madison think about the emptiness of her life. Then she tells Madison that she will leave her there to die from hunger and thirst because she won't survive alone for 3 or 4 days. Cassie assures her that no one will notice her absence because her life on social media is just a fake life. Madison takes Cassie's words as a joke, and they laugh together, drinking, and then Madison starts dancing by the fire. The next morning, Madison is asleep after drinking heavily the previous night. Cassie takes her belongings and phone, then boards the speedboat, leaving her alone on the island to face a slow death, just as she did with the other girls before her. 3 weeks later, we see that Cassie has managed to hack into Madison's accounts and paid the villa's rent with her money. Cassie continues to post pictures of Madison from time to time on her page, using the photos she had taken of her earlier. She also wears Madison's clothes and films videos of herself, then edits her face by overlaying Madison's features on it. She uses AI voice cloning technology, making the videos seem as if Madison is still interacting with her followers and posting content as usual. After a while, Cassie begins to search for a new victim among the tourists in Thailand and finds someone she likes on Instagram, a girl named Jessica. She manages to reach out to her, monitors her, and follows her movements. Cassie then enters a store behind Jessica and tries to talk to her and get to know her, but Jessica doesn't pay her any attention and leaves the store. However, Cassie doesn't give up and meets Jessica again at the hotel she's staying at, as if their encounter was a coincidence. She introduces herself to Jessica and tells her that she rented a villa and traveled alone because her boyfriend backed out at the last minute. Cassie spends some time with Jessica, taking the opportunity to film her, then steals the key to her hotel room from her purse, just like she did with the previous girls. Naturally, her goal is to steal from the room. She waits until Jessica calls her, informing her that she has been robbed. Indeed, Jessica calls Cassie for help, and Cassie gives her the address of the villa. Jessica then goes there. However, the surprise comes when they arrive at the villa, where they find Ryan, Madison's boyfriend, who traveled to Thailand specifically to make up with her because he noticed she hadn't been responding to his calls recently. Ryan asks Cassie who she is and why she's at the villa, especially since he knows that Madison is the one paying for the rent from her own account. Cassie tells him that she's a friend of Madison's and they met during the trip. She then asks him to leave the villa since Madison has broken up with him, and it's not appropriate for him to be there. However, Ryan refuses to leave and decides to stay in one of the rooms until Madison returns so he can talk to her. Later, Ryan gets to know Jessica, and they start talking, but Cassie interrupts them several times, not allowing them to speak freely. In the evening, the three of them are at the bar, and Cassie notices that Jessica leaves the place. She follows her and sees her getting into a taxi to return to the villa. When Jessica reaches the villa, she begins to pack her things in preparation for leaving because she's starting to suspect something is off with Cassie. Jessica confronts Cassie and tells her that she learned from Ryan that Madison had been robbed in the same way she had, and she discovered that Madison isn't the one paying for the villa's rent as Cassie had claimed. Jessica tries to leave, but Cassie stops her and violently slams her head against the wall. Before she ruthlessly prepares to finish her off, Cassie tells her that no one will notice her absence, just like the others before her. She then places Jessica's body in a bag, getting ready to dispose of it. Meanwhile, Ryan arrives at the villa and asks about Jessica. Cassie tells him that she went up to her room and doesn't want to be disturbed. Cassie feels threatened by Ryan's presence, so she grabs a knife and decides to go up to his room to take care of him. But before she enters the room, Cassie hears a notification sound coming from Jessica's phone. She opens the phone and sees that Ryan posted a picture of Jessica and tagged her. The surprise is that Cassie appears in the background of the photo. Since she doesn't want to be seen in any posted photos to avoid an investigation into Jessica's disappearance, she decides to back off and not go through with killing Ryan. The next morning, Ryan finds Cassie sitting at the breakfast table alone, but he notices a plate that has been partially eaten. He deduces that Jessica had been sitting and eating with her recently. He asks her where Jessica is, and she tells him that she said goodbye and left. When Ryan checks his phone, he finds a message from Jessica saying that she suddenly decided to leave. Afterward, Cassie tries to be nice to Ryan and attempts to clear up the misunderstanding between them. She follows him as he leaves and gets close to him so they can spend some time together. They go to the bar, where she secretly drugs his drink without him noticing. After some time, they return to the villa, and Cassie pulls Ryan to the bed. She seizes the opportunity to unlock his phone using his face recognition and deletes the last photo he posted, in which she appears in the background. The next morning, Ryan wakes up to find Cassie sleeping beside him. He assumes they had sex the night before, but he doesn't remember anything due to the excessive alcohol he drank. Afterward, Cassie takes him to the ferry so he can return home. She then returns to the villa and burns all of Madison's belongings that she had kept. However, she decides to keep Madison's diaries because she wants to enjoy reading them now that she's rid of her. Meanwhile, we learn that Ryan didn't travel and is still trying to find Madison. He goes to the hotel where she had been staying and sits at the bar. He asks the elderly British tourist if he has seen Madison. He shows him the last photo Madison posted, and the tourist tells him that he saw her with a girl who had a large mole on her face. He also comments on the picture, pointing out that the weather in the photo doesn't match the current climate in Thailand, which means the photo was taken some time ago. Here, Ryan starts to suspect something and watches the last video Madison posted on her page. He rewinds the video slowly, focusing intensely on Madison's face. At one point, he notices a mole on her face. He zooms in and realizes that the face shown is Cassie's, with Madison's face digitally placed over it. He decides to return to the villa and enters her bedroom to search. He finds Madison's diary, confirming that Cassie had done something to her. He waits for her to return, and when she enters, he strikes her while she's distracted, causing her to lose consciousness. When Cassie wakes up, she finds herself tied up, and Ryan is in front of her reading from Madison's diary. He discovers that she lied to him about the thing she told him because what Madison wrote contradicts it. He tells her he knows she did something to Madison. Cassie denies it and claims that Madison admitted to her that Ryan had been violent and abusive towards her, showing her messages where Madison said she was planning to report him to the police and no one would believe him. Ryan asks her what she did to Madison, but she denies hurting her. However, she offers to take him to the place where Madison is. Ryan follows her while she's still tied up, and they head to the boat. Cassie manages to free her hands and strikes Ryan, causing him to fall into the water. She jumps in after him and drowns him, killing him. The next morning, Cassie writes a post on Ryan's page, claiming that he had been beating Madison, killed her, and buried her. She says that's why he decided to end his life and rid himself of his guilt. Cassie then places Ryan's body in the boat and heads toward the abandoned island, planning to place his body next to Madison's. However, when she arrives on the island, she's shocked to find that Madison's body isn't where she expected it to be. Cassie grabs a shovel and starts searching for Madison's body all over the island. Suddenly, Madison appears from behind her and strikes Cassie, causing her to lose consciousness. It's then revealed that Madison had survived the entire time. She goes to the boat and watches the story unfold, seeing Ryan's fate. When Cassie regains consciousness, she sees Madison on the boat, leaving the island. Cassie realizes that Madison has left her alone on the abandoned island, leaving her to face the same slow death she had been subjecting the other girls to. If you love movies and movie recaps, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more. Hit like if you enjoyed the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.